Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
This is from Starbucky Barnes. John and crew, what's up? Hopefully you guys are as happy as I am. Well, maybe not Rob. That Star Trek 4 with Pine and his crew is in the works.
Yes!
I remember talks about a Star Trek 4 with Pine and Hemsworth coming back to play his dad. If that's not the story, I don't care. I'm just happy this iteration of the franchise is continuing. What are your thoughts?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And of course, this is just another thing that was a part of the big Paramount presentation thing, kind of doing their poor man's version of that Disney, Investors Day call they did a while back, where they dropped all that stuff. But the newest thing, of course, coming that they're talking about is Star Trek, because I'll tell you what, that Star Trek, what was the final one called again? Beyond?
Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond, which I think Simon Pegg was one of the writers of it. I remember I was at Comic-Con. They did this big debut screening of it at this big outdoor theater. I got to be with the main cast of the film, and I'll see if I can find some images of that. But I got to be with the main cast of the film and talk with them before walking out to go and do present the big screening of it. And I'll tell you what, I thought it was the best one they had done. I had Idris Elba was great in it. I loved the movie. I was really nervous about was not thrilled with the trailers. But once you got into the movie and watched it, I thought it was great, but it did not do great financially, which is too bad. But that kind of put what the future of Star Trek could be into question. Because one of the problems was that Paramount, from a financial point of view, treated Star Trek like it was the new Star Wars and Marvel Cinematic Universe. That they could spend the kind of money on these movies like other studios would spend on DC superhero movies, Marvel superhero movies, or Star Wars movies. When the reality is Star Trek movies aren't going to get the same kind of return that those movies do. And so that was a problem they had to figure out. And so there was this big drama going on that they were planning on doing a fourth film, but the actors involved, understandably, were like, we want to get paid what we have been getting paid. Whereas Paramount was saying, we need to readjust our financial realities here. We can't pay you as much or spend as much on these movies. Can we come to an agreement? And the actors were like, look, we've got a deal. We signed a deal. And I don't blame anybody in that situation. I think everybody made sense. And it was just one of those situations where their circumstances didn't allow them to work together at that time. And I get it. Well, fast forward now a couple years. And now they have announced that they are indeed doing a Star Trek 4. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, said the following. The announcement was made by J.J. Abrams during the Paramount Investors Day presentation on February 15th. We are thrilled to say that we are hard at work on a new Star Trek film that will be shooting by the end of the year, that will be featuring our original cast and some new characters that I think are going to be really fun and exciting and help take Star Trek into areas that you've just never seen before, Abrams said. We're thrilled about this film. We have a bunch of other stories that we're talking about that we think will be really exciting. So can't wait for you to see what we're cooking up. But until then, live long and prosper. So they confirmed that coming back and all that kind of stuff are going to be Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto. By the way, I went back and watched Margin Call again the other day. That's a really good movie.
That movie is great.
Yeah, very simple.
And Zachary Quinto was instrumental in getting that movie produced.
Yes, he was. And he was really, really good in it. I'll tell a story here in a second here. But Simon Pegg, all these guys coming back. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to be facetious about it. I really enjoy these Star Trek movies. And I remember when the first one came out, before the first J.J. Abrams ones came out, I remember I was basically on a soapbox for a year preaching about how Star Trek's dead. There's no point in doing more Star Trek. It was literally dead. Because the existing fan base was literally, I don't mean figuratively, the existing fan base was literally dying off. It was not gaining new fans. It was a dying IP. It was dead. Don't do new ones. Just put it to bed. Who cares? But then came the new one that they did with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and what have you. And I watched it, and I remember I saw it at the Scotiabank Theater in Toronto. I was up in Toronto, and I saw it there, and I came walking out like buzzing. I had a great time. I had a lot of fun at it. I'm like, dude, Star Trek's back. And this is the type of thing that can win over some new fans. Because the old one was dead. And unfortunately, the new generation wasn't going back and learning to appreciate the brilliance of the old ones. But, then the second one came out. I liked the second one, but it had even fans of the first one. there were a lot of fans of the first one that liked the first one, but weren't buying into Darkness. I did like Into Darkness, even though I think it had some big problems. Then you get into Beyond. I thought Beyond was wonderful. So I am completely down for this. I love this. Rob, I can't imagine how happy you are about this. Like you are, like I can barely, you're barely holding it together over there with your happiness. But anyway, Rob, you hear they're moving forward with 4. By the way, should be noted that I have not heard anything about whether this is going to be the Chris Hemsworth project, because back when 3 came out, there was talks of 4, and the basic idea was that Chris Hemsworth, who was in the first film as Captain Kirk's dad,
George,
was going to come back, and they were going to have some, a father-son kind of thing. No word on about whether or not they're moving forward with that or going to try some. I don't know how they can afford Hemsworth at this point. But they're coming back, doing a 4th one. Rob, what are your thoughts?
well, look, it's my favorite franchise of all time. It has been since I was a little kid, and I want to see great Star Trek made. I'm always hoping that Star Trek is great. And, over the course of my lifetime, there's been great Star Trek and not so great Star Trek. That's been I don't have rose-colored glasses about this franchise, but I do think you pointed out something that needs to be kept in mind. And I think that the biggest problem with the J.J. Abrams films is they treated them as any other franchise, like the Transformers. And they were expecting, by spending as much money as they did on these movies, all 3 films were incredibly expensive as far as Star Trek is concerned. And the returns of all 3 films did not, I think, justify what they spent on them. Now, I love the cast. I thought the Star Trek 09 was extraordinarily well cast. Chris Pine made a terrific Kirk. The way he was written was different, but terrific. And I think that this franchise, if it's handled well, if they can make a Star Trek movie that doesn't cost $200 million to make or another $200 million to market, because, John, Star Trek does not travel well foreign. It never has. It's not big in Asian markets.
True. Yeah.
It travels to France, it travels to Germany, it travels to the UK. But Star Trek has never been a franchise that has had huge success in China, even though they keep trying to make it happen, and they need to take that into consideration. And look, fingers crossed that this would be my favorite of these movies. But again, it comes down, Star Trek is all about the writing. And you can have the special effects, but you need the writing. And the writing for me hasn't been there with these 3 movies, and hopefully it will be. Hope springs eternal.
Anyway, Chris, let me go over to you. I don't know that you and I have ever had a conversation about Star Trek. I don't know how big you are into the lore of it, whatever, but how have you felt about the more modern Star Trek, and what do you think about this news that it looks like they're going to finally be able to get a 4th one done?
Well, I'm no Rob. I'm not a very well-versed Trekkie, but my dad would have me watch Star Trek: The Next Generation with him growing up, and I've been revisiting that show on Netflix, which has been really, really fun. And I really liked these. I particularly liked Beyond, actually. I really like Simon Pegg's writing. I thought Justin Lin did great stuff with it. And JJ stuff, I like a lens flare. That's fine by me.
I like a lens flare.
That's all right. It's a little much, but it's fine. I really like these actors, though, and I think Zachary Quinto in particular really, really shines in these films. And so I'm excited for them to go back in there. The more I've talked to Rob about things, though, I've learned a few things along the way about continuity issues and some other things that are interesting because they're just things that I haven't picked up on. So I'm really excited.
It's okay. The people that make the movies haven't picked up on them either. So why should anyone care?
There it is.
But it's really fun though to learn about all the backstory though from you and go, oh, okay, I can see how this is an issue. I can see these things because we all have different tastes, and hopefully these are movies that we all end up liking together. But it's been really cool learning along the way. Maybe some missteps that I didn't catch.
I wanna, if you'll indulge me, I want to share a picture with you guys. I love this picture. Because I had already met Milo Ventimiglia from Heroes and This Is Us. And he's kind of responsible for me meeting Anne, and so I knew him. So I did this party at Comic-Con, and Milo was coming, and he was going to bring some of his Heroes friends along with him. And Heroes, at that time I was losing my mind over Heroes, right? So here's the image. This is at our party at Comic-Con that year. And what makes this me with the guys from Heroes, but what makes this picture particularly cool and fun is that this is literally about 3 hours after they announced Zachary Quinto was going to be Spock. And so this was the day, taken on that day that Quinto was going to be playing Spock in that. And it was just so cool. I was so excited because him as Sylar in Heroes, like season 1 of Heroes.
Oh, dude,
So
so good.
Is still my all-time favorite single season of television. It's not my all-time favorite show because it dropped in quality badly after the first season. But that first season of Heroes is still my all-time favorite season of any show.
It was fantastic.
Oh my God, that show was so
which
good.
made the rest of the show all the more painful. It was,
And difficult. And the writer's strike at the time had something
Yeah.
to do with
but
that.
my God, that first season was good.
They were never able to really fully recover. But you're right. I love him as Spock. I think he does such a great job as Spock. And yeah, it's just pretty cool. So I'm very excited to hear about this. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this news that it looks like Star Trek 4 with that cast is all coming back? Whether or not they're going to bring Chris Hemsworth back yet for that storyline, we don't know, but they're moving forward. Are you happy about it, indifferent about it, negative about it? However you guys are feeling, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, ExpressVPN. So guys, if you've been listening to or following me for any period of time, you guys know that one of my big concerns is often online privacy. And that's why I use ExpressVPN. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are probably thinking. You're thinking, well, why don't you just use incognito mode? Well, let me tell you something. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website that you visited. And listen, it doesn't matter who your internet service provider is. Internet service providers in the US can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so that your internet service provider can't see the sites that you're visiting. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. And ExpressVPN is available on all your devices. I mean, your phones, computers, even your smart TV. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. Visit my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/Campea, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more.